I never believed desire could taste like guilt, until his fingers brushed my throat and she saw. I was standing in the gallery, under the muted glow of amber lighting, a glass of red wine warming in my hand. Paintings loomed like silent witnesses. He was there across the room, tall in a linen shirt that fell loose over his shoulders, sleeves rolled just enough to reveal lean forearms. I felt the heat before I saw him, the soft exhale of breath that slipped from his lips, the faint scent of citrus and sandalwood hanging around him. She was there too, Elise, my oldest friend, watching. Her expression was unreadable. Curious, cautious, maybe even jealous. She stood by one of the large windows, the city's neon lights flickering behind her, casting her face in half shadows. I couldn't tell if she noticed or if she cared. He moved toward me, slow enough to be noticed, swift enough to catch the eye. My stomach tightened. I heard my pulse echo in my ears, a drum I couldn't silence. He stopped just short of touching me, and I could almost feel his breath on my skin. Beautiful, he said, voice deep and soft, and I inhaled, my body responding before my mind could object. His hand lifted, not quite grazing my neck but close. So close I felt the warmth radiate through my collarbone, across my skin. I tilted my chin, an unconscious invitation. My heart hammered. Part of me wanted him to pull away, to leave this moment suspended. Another part of me ached for his touch. And then she saw. Elise's eyes flickered, sharp with something I couldn't name. Confusion? Hurt? Something almost dangerous. I froze, caught between wanting him to touch me and wanting to step away. I wanted to taste the air between us, feel the electricity crackling where our shadows mingled. But I also wanted to hide. That's when his fingers finally slipped against my skin. Just the pat of a finger, but cool and alive. The kind of touch that wakes something long buried. Her mouth dropped slightly, as if she was going to say something. And I realized there was no going back. My throat felt dry though the room was warm. I heard Elise clear her throat, so soft I thought I imagined it, but the hollow echo suggested she meant to intervene. I turned toward her, caught between regret and exhilaration. He stayed. His hand did not retreat. The pat of his finger lingered there, hesitating, almost shy. I closed my eyes and felt every cell in me wake. I could feel the tremor in my arm where his hand offered weight, heat. The brush of fabric where his shirt cuff pressed against my skin. Elise opened her mouth, shut it, then spoke. Her voice cracked, delicate as the stem of a wine glass. Is everything okay? My heart twisted. I nodded, though my body screamed otherwise. Yes, I said, voice thinner than I'd intended. His fingers slipped just a fraction lower behind the ear, trailing the line of my neck so lightly I wondered if I was imagining the entire thing. The world around me dimmed, paintings blurred, people dissolved into a wash of color, and all I could see was him. There was something electric in that small daring boundary crossing. My breath caught. My mind spun. I knew I shouldn't let this go any further. Elise's eyes burned, shimmering with unshed tears or anger. I couldn't tell which. But I couldn't stop myself. Inside me a secret stirred. I'd always fantasized about being noticed, by someone who believed I was more than I showed. I had built ceramics in dim studios. I'd painted late into the night. I'd hidden pieces of myself behind polite laughter. I had craved, without admitting, someone to trace those hidden edges with care, with longing. He did that. I shifted, unbalanced by the weight of his presence. Elise stepped forward. Please, she said. There was pleading in her voice, or maybe accusation. It tasted of both. He paused. He looked between me and her. His hand hovered, and then he moved it down toward my shoulder, almost disappearing under fabric, and all I could think was, what do I do now? I gazed at him, mouth slightly parted, unable to decide if I wanted to pull him closer or push him away. The air smelled of varnished wood and old stone. Tastes of wine lingered at the back of my tongue. My skin prickled with anticipation. Elise didn't withdraw. Her eyes were fixed on my neck where his fingers traced a line so fine it felt like both promise and betrayal. She looked hurt, distant, and I realized how exposed I was, not just physically but emotionally. He leaned closer, enough that I could feel the warm echo of his breath against my cheek. My own breath caught, unstable, trembling. My heart seemed to press against my rib cage, desperate to escape. I wanted his lips there, soft, asking. I wanted his hand to slide further, daring. I wanted him to stay suspended in this moment between apology and transgression. But guilt twisted cold and sharp through me. Elise's presence was a tether, her view, her witness made this dangerous. I could taste shame. I wondered, am I betraying her simply by letting this happen? He swallowed. His fingers slipped just under the collarbone, the faintest touch. So intimate it felt like trespassing. So thrilling it lit a starburst behind my ribs. Elise's voice was brighter now, quicker. You promised we'd spend time together. She edged closer. I felt torn. Pulled by loyalty to Elise, by my own longing, by fear of what I was doing. The night seemed to tighten around us, the gallery's hush now oppressive. He straightened slightly but didn't leave. He looked from me to Elise, eyes deep and conflicted. And then he whispered something soft, so soft I couldn't catch it. But his lips were so near. They brushed my skin, not quite words, more like a confession. Elise's face changed. Her jaw set. Her eyes glinted. And I swore I saw anger. I felt exposed under Elise's stare. Embarrassment flickered like a candle in my chest. Yet I couldn't pull away from him, not yet. Something in me longed for this, even if I couldn't own it. He leaned back just enough to meet Elise's gaze, then back to mine. The tension in his shoulders betrayed him, conflicted, torn. I took a shallow breath. My clothes felt tight, my skin electric. Elise raised her hand, trembling slightly. She opened it, closed it, then the wrist slack. I thought she might move toward me, maybe touch me, maybe push him away. You're different tonight, she said, voice low. There was hurt there, but also something like curiosity. Disbelief. I swallowed. I could feel sweat at the base of my neck. I wanted his touch to erase everything. Erase the jealousy, the shame, the longing. I wondered if he could understand how sharply I felt, how desperate I had been for someone who looked at me like I was more than my mistakes. He placed his hand on my hip. Light, so light I almost doubted it, but it grounded me. I reoriented. Here now, the heat between us, Elise watching. His breath brushed my ear. He said a name, or maybe it was my name, his voice thick. I couldn't tell. And I let my head fall slightly, trusting. Elise's lip trembled. There was something inside me that wanted to pull away for her, to say I'm sorry, to choose loyalty. But desire is its own force. The air felt dense. My heart beat so loud I thought everyone could hear. Then Elise spoke again, louder this time. You're leaning into something you might regret. His hand on my hip tightened. My stomach fluttered. He looked at Elise, then back at me. And in his eyes I saw recognition and surrender. That night the dream came. I imagined him alone in my apartment. Candles flickering, soft music playing. Shadows dancing on walls. My skin against sheets, his lips at my collar. His hands exploring lines I had never shown. The fantasy was both tender and dangerous, because it wasn't just about pleasure but confession. That I wanted to be seen, touched, claimed. When I woke, my heart pounded. I felt both guilty and alive. I thought of Elise. I thought of his fingers on my skin. Days passed. He texted me. A message translucent with longing. I can't forget how you smelled that night. I read it under blanket covers, alone, my palms damp. I tried to respond coolly, politely. But every word tasted like betrayal. Elise saw my unread messages blinking on my phone. She asked, "Who's that?" My chest tightened. I lied. No one important. At work I saw him in my mind. The curve of his neck, the soft line of jaw, the way his hands moved like they were solving a puzzle he was forbidden to touch. I questioned, do I want this? The shame? The risk? The thrill? Then at a dim cafe, he appeared across from me. The light caught his eyes. I saw hunger, apology, need. He reached across the table. His fingers brushed my wrist, trailing up toward my arm, toward my throat. My breath hitched. Elise sat beside me, her hand cold on my back. She caught my eye, then his. There was hurt, confusion, longing, too much. He laughed, soft and nervous, and offered me a scarf. I took it. He wrapped it around my neck gently, his thumbs grazing the skin there. I wanted to pull it away, but I didn't. Elise frowned. She saw us. That evening I couldn't sleep. I thought of the scarf, his fingers, the way his breath had stirred my neck. I thought of Elise's face, the subtle betrayal in her eyes, and I wondered who I was becoming. He called me. The line crackled. I heard birds outside the window. He said, Meet me. I hesitated. My mind raced. Loyalty versus longing. Right versus wrong. I met him in a park. The moon was a sliver in the sky. We walked silent. Leaves whispered. My skin still felt hot, the memory of his touch like fire in my blood. He stopped. He turned to me. His hand lifted, brushing the side of my face, then trailing down my neck. His fingers never bold, always respectful, but each time he touched me I felt ache and knowledge. Something private unfolding. I closed my eyes, part of me wanting to lean in, part of me wanting to run back to Elise to tell her everything. He whispered. I didn't plan this, I swear. I didn't want promises. I wanted truth. He leaned closer, so close I could smell him, citrus, wood smoke between us. My pulse thundered. Then I heard her voice, distant yet piercing. Why? I froze. Her silhouette appeared at the edge of light, watching. No one else there, just us and her. My heart divided. Part ashamed, part burning. I looked at him, then at Elise. His face was torn. Elise's was stunned. And I realized, nothing would ever feel the same. He stepped back. The touch broke. The silence grew heavy. Elise's voice was soft. Explain. I swallowed. My throat dry. I didn't want to hurt you. My words rickety. He looked at me. Brought his hand to my shoulder, light, as if forgiving me. I didn't want this either, he said. Elise turned away. Tears gathered in her eyes. The sky above us stretched dark and vast. I thought I'd feel relief if it all ended. But instead I felt longing sharper than regret. I felt regret more intense than longing. He reached for me but paused. I saw the hesitation, the moral line we'd crossed. Then impulsively he kissed me. Just a brush. No words, just tension, contact, breath. My heart cracked open. I tasted him. Elise gasped. It pulled me from the moment, shame, desire, love all knotted together. Elise backed away. Her voice trembled. I trusted you. I wanted to explain, to apologize, to undo what had been done. But there was no undo. He held me. All I wanted was to disappear into him, save myself from the weight of what I'd done. Her silhouette vanished into the night, footsteps echoing. And I stood there between two loves, between what I had promised her and what I ached for him to give me. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message from Elise. Are you okay? I stared at the screen, dim light illuminating my trembling fingers. My heart threatened to crumble. I turned toward him. His eyes were soft, regretful, full of want. He stepped closer, bridging all the distance that felt unbridgeable. His hand lifted to my neck once more, not with the silent rebellion of before, but with intention. My skin tingled under his touch. I closed my eyes. I let him. I let desire and guilt and truth wash over me. It wasn't perfect. It was messy. My breath hitched with every heartbeat. I felt alive in the fracture. I can't do this without telling her, I whispered. The night was so quiet I thought I might lose my voice. He nodded. I'll leave you to tell her, he said. His fingers dropped from my neck. His eyes lingered on mine. But know this, he added. Even when I'm not here, I've seen you. I see you. A single tear slid down my cheek. Not just for the sting of betrayal, but for the longing, the wake of possibility. I found Elise waiting outside my apartment. She hadn't knocked. She just stood there, shoulders slumped. My chest tightened. I told her. Everything. That I had craved kindness, being understood, being desired. Things I didn't always know I deserved. I told her about him. How he moved, how he touched, how he made me question what I thought I wanted. I told her about the fantasy, the guilt, the moment I crossed a boundary. She listened. Not angry, not forgiving, just listening. The moonlight cast shadows over her face. I saw pain, but also something softer, something like understanding. I asked for forgiveness. Not to erase the past, but to move forward. She didn't say it at first. Then quietly, I'm scared. Me too, I said. We held each other there. Words felt too clumsy. So our bodies spoke. Shoulders leaning, breath mingling, internal storms settling. Later, alone, I lay in bed and traced my own neck, where his hand had been. The memory burned. Desire mixed with regret. But there was also peace, because I had faced truth, stepped out of hiding. To you, watching, listening, sometimes what feels wrong feels necessary. Sometimes wanting someone isn't betrayal. It's revelation. Not every touch steals you. Some touches simply wake you up. If you've ever been torn between loyalty and longing, or felt unfaithful to yourself in the name of love, you're not alone. Thanks for hearing this. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment. Tell me what you think she should do next. Share if this felt familiar. And if you want more stories like this, hit subscribe.